The question, does God exist, has echoed through human history, reverberating through the halls of ancient temples, whispered in the quiet corners of monasteries, and pondered in the minds of philosophers and everyday people alike. It's a question that speaks to our deepest longings, our fears, and our search for meaning. It touches the very core of our existence, challenging us to look beyond the material world and seek answers in the realm of the spiritual and the unknown. In a world often filled with uncertainty, the idea of a supreme being offers comfort and order. It provides a sense of purpose and direction, a guiding light in the darkness and a source of solace in times of trouble. But what if the answer wasn't about believing in a God outside ourselves? What if the divine was not a distant entity, but something intimately connected to our own being? What if true peace came from understanding the nature of our own minds? From realizing that the answers we seek are not out there, but within us, waiting to be discovered through introspection and mindfulness. This is the approach the Buddha offered over 2,500 years ago. He taught that enlightenment and true understanding come from looking inward, from cultivating a deep awareness of our thoughts, emotions, and the nature of reality itself. He didn't dwell on proving or disproving the existence of God. Instead, he focused on practical methods for achieving inner peace and wisdom, encouraging us to explore the depths of our own consciousness. Instead, he pointed us towards a path of inner awakening, a way to directly experience the truth of reality. By following this path, we can find a profound sense of connection and harmony, not just with ourselves, but with the entire universe. The journey to understanding is deeply personal and unique to each individual. It requires patience, dedication, and an open heart. As we embark on this journey, we may find that the answers we seek are not as elusive as they once seemed. Through shared experiences and collective wisdom, we can support each other in our quest for truth. Together, we can create a community of seekers, united by our common goal of inner peace and enlightenment. In the end, the question, does God exist, may lead us to a deeper understanding of ourselves and the world around us. It may inspire us to look beyond the surface and explore the profound mysteries of existence. And perhaps in that exploration, we will find that the true essence of the divine is not something separate from us, but a fundamental part of who we are. Born a prince in ancient India, Siddhartha Gautama lived a life of privilege. Surrounded by the finest luxuries, he was shielded from the harsh realities of the world. His father, the king, ensured that Siddhartha's life was filled with comfort and opulence, hoping to keep him away from any form of suffering. Sheltered from suffering, he seemed destined for a life of power. As he grew older, Siddhartha was groomed to take over the throne, learning the arts of governance and leadership. His days were filled with grand feasts, elaborate ceremonies, and the adoration of his subjects. Yet a profound encounter with the realities of old age, sickness, and death shook him to his core. On a rare venture outside the palace walls, Siddhartha saw an elderly man, frail and bent with age. This sight was followed by encounters with a sick person and a corpse, each vision more jarring than the last. These sights, stark reminders of the impermanence of life, ignited a spiritual quest within him. Siddhartha began to question the very nature of existence and the true meaning of life. He realized that no amount of wealth or power could shield him from the inevitable suffering that all beings face. Siddhartha renounced his royal life and became a wandering ascetic. Leaving behind his family, his palace, and all his worldly possessions, he embarked on a journey to seek the truth. He wandered through forests and villages, living on alms and meditating in solitude. He studied with renowned teachers, mastered ancient meditation practices, but still couldn't find lasting peace. Despite his rigorous efforts and the knowledge he gained, Siddhartha felt that something was missing. The answers he sought eluded him, and his heart remained restless. He realized that true freedom wasn't found in extreme self-denial or intellectual knowledge alone. Siddhartha experimented with severe ascetic practices, pushing his body to its limits, but these too failed to bring him the enlightenment he sought. He understood that neither indulgence nor extreme austerity held the key to liberation. It was through deep meditation under the Bodhi tree that Siddhartha experienced a profound awakening, becoming the Buddha, the awakened one. In this moment of enlightenment, he discovered the middle way, a path of balance and moderation. The insights he gained under the Bodhi tree formed the foundation of his teachings, which would go on to inspire millions around the world. Many expected the Buddha to reveal the ultimate nature of God, Instead, he remained silent on this question. This wasn't an evasion, but a deliberate choice. The Buddha understood that our obsession with the existence of God often distracts us from the real work, understanding ourselves and the nature of suffering. He likened it to a man shot by a poisoned arrow. Instead of seeking immediate medical help, the man obsesses over who shot the arrow, their motivations, and their lineage. The Buddha taught that focusing on these metaphysical questions while ignoring the immediate problem leads to more suffering. Buddhist cosmology speaks of numerous realms of existence, some higher and some lower than our own. These realms are inhabited by various beings, including Devas, often translated as gods. However, even these beings, though long-lived and possessing certain powers, are subject to the same universal laws of impermanence and unsatisfactoriness as humans. The Buddha emphasized that true liberation lies not in reaching a heavenly realm or appeasing deities, but in transcending the cycle of birth and death altogether. This liberation, known as nirvana, is the ultimate goal in Buddhism. Not gods, but guides Devas in the Buddhist view. While acknowledging the existence of Devas, the Buddha didn't view them as omnipotent creators or controllers of our destiny. Instead, they are beings on their own path of spiritual evolution, sometimes offering guidance and protection but ultimately bound by the same laws of existence as humans. In some Buddhist traditions, offering respect to Devas is practiced, but this isn't about blind worship. It's about cultivating positive qualities and recognizing the interconnectedness of all beings. The Path Within. Buddha's teachings on spirituality. The Buddha's silence on God doesn't mean he advocated atheism. Instead, he shifted the focus from external deities to the inner landscape of our minds. He taught that the root of our suffering lies in our own attachments, aversions, and ignorance. By understanding and transforming these mental states, we can find true peace and liberation. The Buddha's teachings, known as the Dharma, offer practical guidelines for this inner transformation. The Four Noble Truths point to the reality of suffering, its cause, the possibility of its cessation, and the path to achieve that cessation. The Eightfold Path provides a roadmap for ethical conduct, mental discipline, and wisdom. A Thirsty Man and a Poisoned Arrow. Stories of clarity. These stories, often shared by the Buddha, are timeless parables that offer profound insights into human nature and the essence of our struggles. The Buddha often used stories and parables to illustrate his teachings. These narratives were not just simple tales but were imbued with layers of meaning designed to provoke thought and reflection. One such story tells of a man dying of thirst in a desert. The vast, empty expanse of the desert symbolizes the desolation and desperation that can consume us when we are lost and searching for meaning. He stumbles upon a well but hesitates to drink because he's fixated on knowing who dug the well, their reasons, and the materials used. This hesitation, driven by an insatiable need for answers, ultimately leads to his demise. The Buddha used this story to highlight the absurdity of prioritizing intellectual curiosity over our immediate needs. In our quest for knowledge and understanding, we often overlook the simple, immediate solutions that are right in front of us. Another story tells of a man shot by a poisoned arrow who refuses treatment until he knows the archer's identity and motives. This man's insistence on understanding the circumstances of his injury, rather than addressing the urgent need to remove the arrow and treat the poison, serves as a powerful metaphor. This parable, as mentioned earlier, emphasizes the urgency of addressing the root cause of suffering, our own clinging and aversion, rather than getting lost in metaphysical debates. The falling leaves around the person under the tree remind us of the impermanence of life and the futility of clinging to transient things. These stories of clarity are not just ancient teachings, but are relevant to our modern lives. They remind us to focus on what truly matters, to address our immediate needs, and to let go of unnecessary attachments and distractions. By embracing the wisdom in these parables, we can find a sense of peace and clarity in our own lives. We learn to prioritize what is essential, to act with urgency when needed, and to let go of the endless quest for answers that may never come. In the end, the stories of clarity teach us that true wisdom lies in simplicity and presence. They guide us to live fully in the moment, to address our needs with urgency, and to find peace in the acceptance of life's impermanence. Let these timeless parables be a beacon of light, guiding you towards a life of clarity, purpose, and peace. Finding peace in an uncertain world. Buddha's relevance today. In a world often driven by dogma and division, the Buddha's approach to the question of God offers a refreshing alternative. He invites us to move beyond blind faith and rigid beliefs, and instead cultivate a path of inner investigation and compassion. The Buddha's teachings on mindfulness, compassion, and the interconnectedness of all beings are as relevant today as they were centuries ago. They offer a way to navigate the complexities of life with wisdom, courage, and kindness, regardless of our beliefs about God. By focusing on our own inner transformation, we contribute to a more peaceful and compassionate world.